What's up, people? Perry here with episode... What'd you do? Alright, so the first thing that I wanted to talk about is that I'm sorry for not uploading yesterday. I know that I said that I would try and put up sort of like daily videos, but as it turns out, it's not going to happen because I tried recording yesterday and it turned out just to be just utter crap. Crap. And you know what? That's not what this channel is going to be about. It's going to be about good quality content. And so I decided a few things on how I want this series to go. So the original idea for this series was that, I wanted to create some sort of daily vlog on my experience building this. And the thing that I found out was that this process can be pretty slow, extremely slow. And I thought that it would be a good idea just to kind of like go through my day and this is what ended up happening. But there are some days where just nothing happens. And I think I reached that in the was it the third or fourth episode. I was just out of ideas at that point. So but the other thing was, I wanted to not only show the finished product but also the struggles that I go through building what you see here. So but what ends up happening is that I would just stand up, stare at an empty space for a while, sort of like this, and just, the thoughts that are going through my head are nothing that are really important or relevant to the design process, and it gets to be pretty boring. So I don't want to do that to you guys. So here's what I decided. So I want to focus on bringing you the best content possible, and if it means skipping a day or two, then you know what, so be it. So be it, right? I realized this because I was looking at other YouTube channels, like other famous YouTubers like Etho and B00 and Good Bowler Fist. I watched that guy a lot too. But I realized that their content is something like they would upload content every day, but the problem for me is that I don't have all that content ready to go. Like they would upload an episode of like survival where they would or some sort of show that they just recorded all in one chunk and then they kind of just split it up. And I don't have that yet. And I will be thinking about doing something of that, something in that vein, something in that nature. And, hopefully I can get to that point where I'm uploading content every day. But as of right now, I don't have that content. So I'm going to do that. Um, if I miss a day or two, I'm sorry, but it's all about quality, right? Um, I will not only show you the finished product, but also show you some of the struggles I go through during the process. I still want to have that interactivity with you, so there may be a few episodes here and there where I'll just be walking around and talking, kind of like right now. And I realized that I can't talk and design at the same time because usually when I'm trying to figure out what to do, my thoughts can often get kind of jumbly and disjointed, and that's nothing for you to see, right? So what I think will end up happening is I'll go through the design process off camera, and then I'll figure out some way of explaining it to you. So that's going to be the format of the show. That's how we're going to move forward, and I hope you guys understand just exactly what I'm saying here. So, so that's the idea. What we're going to do in this episode, though, you can see I've actually made a little bit of progress here. If you've been looking at this for a while, I say, well, Perry, you changed this. So I guess I'll talk a little bit about it. I decided to go against the whole stair idea. I decided that, it wasn't really working for me. So I decided to keep it simple, keep with the clay blocks in the middle and the sandstone on the outside. And as we go along, we'll start adding detail here, and it'll slowly, it'll get better. It'll get better. It will get better. And just so you know, this right here, this build right here, basically started out looking something like this. So, the whole process of trying to figure out the details and putting in what we need to put in order to make it look good, that'll take some time, and we'll figure it out as we go along here. And also in the middle here, if I can fly over here, I've kind of taken down these walls here a little bit. It wasn't really working for me. I might even take it down even more. And when this whole mountainside goes away eventually, I haven't quite decided yet on the kind of shape that I want, but eventually when it does go away, I think I'll be able to take it down even more. And what else? This area right here, I've kind of started the whole process of decorating the inside. You'll remember from before, it was just a giant hole from that little 300 sub little celebration that I had there. But yeah, we've started adding in these kind of pillar shapes, and I hope that we'll be able to add in a little bit more detail as we go along here. The thing that I wanted to show you though is right here. You notice that this archway is a different archway from this, and that's on purpose. And the idea that I'm going to try and do here is I want to try and incorporate these two shapes together, so kind of merge them and create this kind of dome at the top here. So that's kind of what I have this line going down here. And the entrance, the actual like doorway, like I don't think there'll actually be doors in this build, but like an entranceway for it. It'll be inset a little bit, so it'll start somewhere here. So there'll be a giant wall here, and then yeah, that's what I'm going for. So the idea is that I don't want to put like a giant wall here. I feel that if it's too flat, across here, it's kind of a little bit too boring. So if I inset the whole thing into here, I think it'll give it a little bit more detail, a little bit more definition, right? So yeah, that's what I have going on. And it's not that much progress, but it's making progress very slowly every day. We're gonna get there. Don't worry about it. We'll get there. But what I thought that we would do is that someone in the comments said to me, it would be a really good idea to put a fountain right in the middle of the staircase. And I thought that that was a pretty good idea. I do like the idea of putting in a fountain. However, I don't think it would fit in this area. For the scale that I want it to be, and especially if I want to put in some detail, I don't think it'll work for this area, because I think it would be just so big that it would just cover up the stairways. So I thought maybe we would go and put it here. And it might not even be a fountain. It might be some sort of sculpture. I'm not too sure yet. But I'm going to do some of that creative stuff off camera, like I was saying earlier. And so, yeah. Yeah, I'm going to do that, and I'll see you in just a bit. So here's something that I realized as I was building or going through the whole build process. As you can see here, I've kind of stepped back and taken a look at where this build is, and that's something that you can do whenever you're building, is just take a step back. Don't worry too much about placing blocks, and sometimes you just get so involved with placing things, you tend to forget about what's going on around you, and you forget that sometimes you have to design with your surroundings in mind. And what ended up happening here was that I was right about here, and I was taking a look at the way the build was coming out, like the shape of it. But then I realized it's going to be blocking off the stairs. And that's something that I don't want. I don't want the stairs to be blocked off, because I would rather have it more as a focal point when you're walking up here. I want you to see those stairs and how they're flared out. And so that's something that you can do whenever you're considering a build or a placement of it. What's going to end up happening is that I'll continue on with this build. I do like the idea or the concept of it, but I think it may have to move somewhere else. So I'll build it here, but at some point we'll have to move it in another part of this world. So I'm gonna keep on going with this, and I'll see you in a bit. So also one of the things that I like to do is I like to kind of plan away from the site of the build. And I know for some of you that are doing survival, it's not really an option, especially because you gotta take the whole thing down and then put it where you want it. But for me, it kind of works a little better in terms of the whole planning process. And maybe it's something that you could do like, while you're trying to come up with the concept. But for me, what I like to do is to kind of lay out a pattern just like this. And eventually, what will end up happening is that this will go somewhere here. But it's always good to just get a good sense of what you're trying to go for. And so I'm going to do a pattern here, and then I'm going to make another pattern over here. And I can decide between the two whether or not, what I want out of the two. So that's an idea for you. All right, so I got a couple of patterns set up here, and I'm just trying to decide which one I like better. I mean, I was trying to go for this little star pattern, and I thought on top of that, it would be something that would be kind of offset from it. So this would be on the bottom, and then this would be on top of it. And the idea behind it is that, you know, they would have like something coming out here, and then, well, what? I should just put it on top of that. I'll show you. Oh, shoot. Dang it. Much better. Shoot, not again. All right, so this is kind of what I'm going for here. It's kind of like a snowflake. It looks like a snowflake type pattern. It looks all right. The idea is that, we'd stack that, well, we're stacking that on top of there, and then another something else that's a little bit smaller that would go on top of this, and then we can kind of assemble it into the fountain. So we got to come up with the third tier. I think I'm going to use this yellow stained clay for that. I don't know. Yeah, that's a little better. I think though it has to be connected in the middle here somehow. Give it a little bit, yeah, give it a little bit extra there. Yeah. Yep. Okay, so this is the final idea here. You can see I've basically stacked shapes on top of shapes, but all it takes now is to take all of this and kind of incorporate it into here. So I'm going to do that, and I'll see you in just a bit. All right, so after stacking them on top of each other, I've kind of separated them, and what I ended up doing, oh, don't worry about that. That's a little thing. It's a little process that I go through with MC Edit, trying to build what you see here, basically. But what I'm trying to do right now is to figure out just how I want these blocks to angle up. So I don't know if you saw earlier, but I kind of had it so that the blocks were coming out and then they kind of flare upwards. just like that. And so I'm trying to figure that out now, and I don't think that's really a good idea to do that. Maybe something like that. All right. Maybe. I'm not sure yet. Maybe if I do that, add that to that. I don't want it to get too cumbersome. Or if I do that. Yeah, it's an idea in progress. I think I have to work on it a little bit more. But basically what I'm trying to do here is flare up these the ends here. Kind of like a flower petal. You know how a flower petal is? Kind of has that little angle up at the end. So that's what I'm trying to go for. So this is the bottom piece here. This is the middle area, the middle piece. And then over here, this is like kind of like the top crowning thing. So all we got to do now is I'm going to actually try and figure out exactly how I want these blocks, because now that I'm looking at it, I don't really like the gap that's apparent here. It's not really what I'm going for. So I'm gonna go ahead, adjust these blocks a little bit, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back and assemble this all onto here. And here's the kind of a finished product, sort of a finished product. It's never finished in my opinion, but this is kind of what I was going for. I thought that the blue would kind of attract attention to the middle here, so that, you can you notice this first and then it kind of splays out from there. But I think this is kind of the idea I was going for, the idea that was in my head. And I think I might want to do a kind of a water fountain version of that. So I'm going to do that, and I'll see in a bit. And so here's the little water fountain sculpture that I decided to come up with. It's okay. I mean, it's all right. I do actually prefer this to that, just because it's got a little bit more, I want to say, girth to it. But here's the test, is whether or not the water looks good in it. So let's try that out. It's not bad, not bad. And I think I might want to put water in here. Maybe some water here. Do I want to put water here? Let's see. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, let's do that. Yep. Oh, shoot. Clean up. Here we go. Okay, let's try that again. Get rid of that. Put that there. And actually, I'm going to get rid of these blocks in here just because it doesn't look that great. And we're going to get out of here. There we go. You know what? I did not think that I would enjoy making this fountain. I thought that the sculpture would be the best idea out of the two, but I'm kind of liking how the fountain looks, how it flows, Something about water just flowing down, even though it's Minecraft. Something about the way the water flows kind of works for me. It works for me. So let me know in the comments what you think. But that's going to be it for this episode. I thank you for watching. Leave a comment on what you think about the new format that I'm going to go forward with. And you know what? Don't forget to hit that like button if you so choose, if you like this episode. And you know what? If you're new to this channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. And it helps you keep up to date on the goings on in my channel. So that's going to be it for me. Always remember, keep your head up, and I'll see you in the next one.